Welcome back to the Us vs. Them channel. I'm your host Vince, and today we're going to break down the next fight for the upcoming fight this weekend at UFC 320. That's Patchy versus Jakub Wikłacz. Patchy is sitting at a minus 280 favorite, and Jakub is sitting at a plus 210 underdog. Obviously, everybody's going to, when they think about Patchy, they're going to think about his most recent performance against Mario Batista. In that performance, he didn't look great. It was his UFC debut. He kind of talked a big game a little bit. About his, obviously he had a lot of success in Bellator. Talked a lot of big game and he acted like he was going to come in here and kind of walk through the division, get a title shot, and win the title shot. Obviously, Mario Batista kind of fraud checked him a little bit, and everybody remembers that it's like, oh, well, he just kind of started slow, or, he was stuck in the mud, or off night, and all those are probably maybe a little bit true. But also what we realized that night is Mario Batista is improving in his striking, for one. And two, Patchy is not really defensively sound in his striking. He tends to, obviously you guys probably already know this, but his head movement is non-existent. He also doesn't move his feet too awful much, and his guard's a little bit loose. So the straight shots right down the middle that Batista was throwing are going to be available for a lot of people unless Patchy Mix changes something about his striking defense. One thing I also noticed about him is he keeps his hands kind of low, but to the side. But it does kind of help him block those looping shots. I watched the Magomedov fight. Magomedov was throwing a lot of looping shots, and he was using his arms just to protect himself. So for those looping shots, it's a really good strategy. But for a guy like Mario Batista, who's training traditional boxing and going right down the middle, leaving your face right open if you're Patchy Mix. So you got to do something, whether it's head movement or moving your feet more. And moving your feet more is something you can learn in between fights. Head movement is probably not something he can gain and add to the tool set. When I was doing research for this fight, I've never heard of Jakub Wikłacz before. This is my first time hearing about him. I don't typically follow other organizations outside of the UFC, except for a few big names here and there, but that's pretty much it. So I was doing my research on him. The first thing I realized is he don't have any knockouts. Not a single knockout to his name. He's got 10 submissions, but no knockouts. The second thing I noticed is he fought the same motherfucker 5 times. This dude fought the same cat 5 times, which is insane. The guy's name was Prisbis or something like that. I don't pronounce Polish names really well, I guess. But one thing I learned, because when you look up his fights, you're gonna have to watch him fight the same dude over and over again. That's basically all that's available out there. One thing I realized, though, is that Jakub is pretty durable. He's a really durable fighter. In the fourth fight of between him and his arch nemesis, he was dropped pretty badly in round 1. He started working his way back into that fight, and actually started taking control again, actually. In the rounds 2, 3, and 4, the fight was stopped at round 4 because he landed a kick to a grounded opponent, which I guess is illegal in their organization. He got 2 points taken away. It was far enough into the fight where they went to the scorecards, and that's why he got the draw on his record. So he's 3-1-1 against that dude. But he did show that he has a tough chin. I also noticed that in those fights that he uses teeps right down the middle a lot. So he's attacking the body with the kicks, and he's got an okay jab too. And he does throw out a lot of volume of punches when he does throw. So he's not really technical, but he's sending a lot out there. Where both these guys are most dangerous is when they get a takedown and they're on top of you. If you look at Patchy Mix's frame, you can tell that he's got a frame that's conducive to getting around people's necks and choking them out. He's got, 4 guillotines, 6 rear naked submissions, so 10 of his wins come by choking dudes out. He's also got a knee bar, an arm triangle, and a sui low stretch, which is always pretty sweet to see. So he's got a diverse arsenal for the most part, but his downward pressure when he gets on top is what makes him different than most fighters his size. He's got really, really good downward pressure, and he advances position really nicely. He also mixes in good ground and pound. So fighters really have a choice when they're on bottom. It's, take the risk of getting up, which that you're probably going to get your back exposed or something else to that effect. Or stay down there and let him keep advancing position because his downward pressure is so good, and he's always bonking you in the face with ground and pound. So he's gonna finish you one way or the other for the most part when he gets on top. So his top game is really next level. Both these guys share one skill in jiu-jitsu that definitely could play a factor here, and it's their smooth back takes. Both these guys have really slick back takes when they get in funky positions, funky scrambles. They just find a way to squirm their way to their opponent's back, and next thing you know, they got a body triangle in, and their opponent is like, "What the fuck just happened?" You know, I've seen that a few different times when I was breaking down these guys' fights. So this is going to be a real treat potentially if it does go to the ground, because they're definitely going to be testing their defensive jiu-jitsu against each other. That's for sure, because their offensive jiu-jitsu for both these dudes is really high level. For my official prediction, the one thing I can say for certain is if it does turn into a grappling match, it's going to be super fun to watch. Like I said, both these guys are really, really high level. But sometimes when you have two guys who are good at grappling and they fight each other, it turns into a striking match. They respect each other's grappling so much, and you know, whether it's two wrestlers or two high-level jiu-jitsu guys like this one, you know, sometimes they just have a hard time getting the fight to where they really want it, so they end up striking. If this is a striking battle, I do think that both these guys have similar skills, and when it comes to their striking, they don't do quite the same shit, but they have similar level and skills. Jakub's going to take more risks and throw more wild shots, and obviously, you know, Patchy Mix is a little bit more buttoned up in his striking, so he might have an advantage there in that regard. But, you know, obviously he doesn't move his head really well, too. So, Patchy Mix has never been knocked out. I don't think he's going to get knocked out this fight. He's fighting a guy who's never knocked anybody out. So, highly doubt Patchy Mix is going to be able to get knocked out. So, he's probably going to feel comfortable taking risks in the striking. So, when it comes to on their feet, I give the advantage to Patchy Mix. I also think he's got a little bit of something to prove after the last fight. So we're going to see a little bit, maybe a more aggressive approach out of him, especially fighting a guy that's never knocked anybody out. Another important thing to note is both these guys have 5-round experience in their last few fights. They've kind of both gotten accustomed to fighting 5-round fights. And I think that's partly to blame, not fully. I think Batista just outstruck him. I think that's partly to blame for his slow start in the Batista fight. When you have 5 rounds and you drop the first round, it's not the end of the world. You have plenty of time to battle your way back. But in a 3-round fight, you drop the first round, your back is against the wall immediately. So you have to win the next 2. And I really do think that's partly the reason why he had such a clunky last fight against Batista. I just wonder if the same thing is going to happen to Jakub, you know, because he has been accustomed to fighting 5-round fights over and over again. He's coming back down to 3-round fights. I just wonder if he understands how urgent it is to not get down on the scorecards early. I do think both these guys have the ability to keep themselves safe on the ground just because their jiu-jitsu is pretty good. Is pretty high level. So is their jiu-jitsu defense. So I do think we're going to go to the decision or to the scorecards on this one. For my official prediction, I am going to go with Patchy Mix by decision. That's all I got for this breakdown. Stop by for the next one. We're going to break down Macy Chiasson versus Yana Santos. That fight's going to suck for sure. But it's an opportunity for us to make money, and we can almost guarantee it's going to decision. So it might be something that we could fill into the parlays. Stop by for that breakdown so you can get more of an idea on that one. And keep watching the videos throughout the week. Obviously, we're going to crank out all the fights as the week goes on. On Friday, we're going to give our official parlays. And on Saturday, we're going to cash some parlays. So I'm really fucking excited. I love weeks when we have numbered cards. And I'm rambling here. So if you guys can, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Actually, don't even hit the like button. Fuck the like button. Just hit the subscribe button for me. And I really appreciate it, guys. I'm fucking out of here.